All right. Hello, everyone. We will get started here in just a minute. I see people trickling in. Give everyone a few more seconds. We're really glad you're here. All right. We will go ahead and get started. It looks like some people are still joining. Feel free to get settled. We have a really great session planned for you today. Before we get started, I'm going to jump into just a little bit of light housekeeping. We are recording this webinar, so good news. The full recording, along with the deck that we're using today in presentation, will hit your inbox in the next 24 hours. And second, at Hireology, talking in class is allowed. So we would love for you to jump in and be part of the conversation. Please use the chat feature to chat with your fellow attendees. And if you have a question for us during the webinar, there is a Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. We will be collecting all your most burning questions to answer at the end of the webinar. We have some specific time carved out. So make sure to drop the questions and we will make sure that we answer them. And so with that, let's jump into things. Quick introduction of the crew you have today. You've got three of us here today. First, we have Adam Robinson. He is our CEO, co-founder here at Hireology, our chief hirologist. Adam's going to be kicking us off with a little bit of context on the talent landscape, why this particular moment matters so much for your business. We also have John Asermely, who is our Chief Product and Technology Officer. John is going to be walking you through some of what we've been building here at Hireology. Some of it is live, some of it is coming very soon. Some will be a little bit of an exclusive sneak peek of what's around the corner. I am Emily Liu. I am your VP of Sales at Hireology and the host for today. I will facilitate and help keep things moving. And I've also bribed John into letting me talk about some of my favorite new product features as well along the way. So with that, we will get started. And Adam, I will hand things over to you to set the stage.
Great. Thanks, Emily. Thanks, John. And thanks, everybody, for being here. We're excited to share with you some of what we're working on right now and the value we think that's going to bring to you in your hiring results. What I want to do is start with a little bit of context. And this chart really tells a powerful story about where we are today. This is the unemployment rate going back to right after World War II. And what you're looking at right now are the peaks and troughs associated with recessions and expansions. And what you can see now, that blue line, which is the unemployment rate, you're looking at essentially a pattern where every time the country's entered a recession, post-war recession, you've always seen the unemployment rate spike during that recession. That makes a lot of sense. What you've never seen is the unemployment rate start to really to go up, materially, more than 0.5% or full percentage point over a 6 to 12 month period outside of a recessionary period. That's literally what's happening right now. Very interesting. But as you'll see in my comments in a couple of slides, I think that dichotomy, that change in pattern presents a generational opportunity for all of us in these industries, to really make the case for what it means to be in stable employment in skills-based people essential industries. And as you all know, that's what Hireology is all about. But we are, on the right side of the chart, you can see, historically speaking, even though all the noise around job losses caused by AI, you read it every day, and I'll talk about that in a second. We are at a historically low level of unemployment. In fact, the continuing claims and new claims reports came out this morning. Very tame readings. There is no uptick in unemployment. There's no uptick in continuing claims. But we hear all this noise. Yet in our markets, in the businesses you're in, the overall job market is really tight. In these frontline skilled roles that we're all dealing with. So what's that all about? To the next slide, traditional knowledge work is at an inflection point. And when you read about the disruption that AI is potentially causing, there's a case that lots of CEOs like to, make an excuse for being bloated over the last 3 years and blame it on AI. There's certainly a lot of that happening. I mean, there is disruption happening, but it's concentrated in white collar knowledge work roles. The headlines tell the story about AI replacing management positions at UPS or Amazon or a Block. That's not what's happening in our markets. I mean, other than due to financial stress or a merger, our, raise your hand if you've ever done a layoff. I mean, nobody ever lays anyone off in our businesses. We are always looking for talent, always looking for talent. We are never reducing headcount materially in normal business conditions. And this disruption and dislocation between, knowledge work being more challenged and skilled labor industries, people essential businesses really having an insatiable demand for talent is where our opportunity lies. Next slide. As I said in the beginning, there's a generational opportunity for industries employing skilled labor. And at Hireology, we really focus on these industries where human skills matter the most. These industries need people who show up, who have hands-on experience, and who can build relationships with your customers, your patients, your guests. And the fact remains, when that toilet gets clogged at your hotel, AI is not going to unclog a toilet. AI is not going to put an IV in your arm or change the sheets in your room. A technician or an AI is not going to, pull the spark plugs out of your car or change your oil. AI can't do those things. But what AI can do is help you find those people faster, to hire those folks faster, to make better choices, to do it more consistently because it's always on, it's always available, it's consistent. If built correctly, it's legally compliant, and it helps you get more out of your investment in hiring. And that is what we are here to talk about today. And our own research backs this up. So here's what we're seeing across our customer base. And this is over 16,000 businesses in the United States. Our own data, 54% of employers are now recruiting outside their traditional industries. What does that mean? 3 years ago, this number was in the mid to high 20s. Everyone was looking for folks with industry experience to come back as the country was reopening from COVID and take roles. Now folks are looking everywhere. Something else that's changed is 43% of applicants to jobs in your industries have been or industry changers. They've completely changed what they were doing and pivoted. And so the people applying to your jobs look different, and I'm sure you've noticed this, look different than they did 5 years ago. And that's really good news if your hiring process is built to recognize transferable skills and experience. And Hireology helps you evaluate candidates on those transferable skills that matter, that are predictive of success in your industry. Now let's talk about the urgency of getting this right. Every day a role goes unfilled in your business, it costs you real money. So, for our folks in automotive, one open shift is about $1,800 a day on the low end. 7 days, you're looking at about $14,000 of lost revenue opportunity just by not having that position filled. Even for a certified nursing assistant or a housekeeper, that the compounding costs add up very, very quickly through overtime, through productivity loss, honestly employee burnout picking up shifts that aren't covered. And more importantly, your patient and guest experience impact is really negative. And this is why speed to hire matters. We're not just talking about efficiency for efficiency's sake. This stuff matters for your bottom line. And the features we're going to show you today are specifically designed to compress your hiring timeline and increase the volume coming through it of quality applicants to make sure the right person gets hired faster. So this is who we are. Hireology is purpose built for the way you operate. We are not a generic provider. We are not a one size fits all ATS. We're a hiring platform designed for multi-location, frontline, skilled labor, people essential businesses. And everything you're about to see is built specifically for your world. So everything we're about to walk through maps to one of these 5 stages, from evaluating candidates all the way through to measuring and improving results. This is the full hiring journey end to end. And honestly, you can run your hiring process without a single piece of software. We used to do that, right? We all used to do that a long time ago. You don't need software to do this, but my goodness, it's so much better when you have it. And it's in today with the tooling available to us as we'll take you through. The right software makes all the difference. And so keep the roadmap in mind as we go. It's going to show how Hireology covers the entire cycle, not just one piece of it. You can get one or two, maybe three of these things from different vendors all over the place, but no one for your markets does this all in one place and makes it this seamless. So with that, Emily, over to you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Adam. That's really good context. I think that helps put into pretty sharp relief why what we're about to show you matters so much right now. So, with that foundation set, let's shift and talk a little bit about product. I'm going to hand this back over to Adam and John to talk about how Hireology is responding to this challenge. We're going to start with the engage and evaluate stage of your hiring roadmap. This is really the first stage where we see teams sort of start to lose some time, whether it's spending too much time sorting through applicants, sort of playing phone tag, struggling to keep visibility into who is in your hiring funnel and where they are. And so if you're a current Hireology customer, I just want to call out really quickly that the user interface you're about to see might look a little different than you're used to in some of these previews, and that's part of the exciting updates that we're rolling out. So I will hand this back to Adam and John. Will you please talk us through how we are thinking about sort of the future? I believe, nope, John, there you are.
I'm here. I'm here. User error. Most AI was built for knowledge work. It wasn't trained on what makes a great technician, a great CNA, or a great housekeeper, a night auditor or general manager. Generic AI doesn't know your world. And the advantage we have in working with all of you is that we were able to build AI in recruitment automation that's built specifically for frontline skilled labor that work in a multi-location environment, right? So what you're going to see was built because we know what it takes to be successful bringing your particular specific roles through the door and what it means to show up and be successful in our roles. These models are not trained on generic job types or process. This is trained on our specificity to our industry and to your businesses, and has done it at a scale that truly no one else in your industry has. And so we're going to be talking about outcomes and not just activity. And I want to talk for a second about how this intelligence actually shows up in Hireology. So, John, I think I'll turn it over to you to take it from here.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Thanks everyone for joining. And Emily, thanks for the tee up because what you're going to see with AI is it's embedded in a new user interface for when you're in a job that we're going to cover in this session. But when you see it, you might go, wait, where am I for a second? All right. So let's start with the first product I'm going to talk about is AI Match. Now, whenever we're building any of these features, there's sort of two audiences for it. There's you all and saving you time and efficiency and helping you find the right person, those people that might be buried in the stack, and also for the person applying, that they get a fair shake. If they, if there's 200 people, how do they rise to the top if they indeed have the requisite skills? So let's start with AI match. If I've got 80, 150 applicants, inevitably what happens is the good ones get buried. Your people might review the first 20 or 30 persons, pick someone, and move on. With AI Match, your staff can now get through many more people and find the ones that fit the job really well. And the way we've done this is not magical. So AI is not magically coming back and just giving you a score and saying this is the right person or that's not the right person. We've built it in a way in which it's fully transparent. So you understand what AI found, why it scored that person the way it scored that person, so that you have confidence in what the model is doing, and it's doing what you as a human would do on your own if you had the time. So it's going to find the evidence, it's going to surface the evidence, and then you can make the decisions about what to do with those applicants. So let's go ahead and take a look at AI Match. All right, so here we are starting with the job description. At this point, you've filled out a job description and you now need to say, what are the things that I want to look for in an applicant to search the resume or the application? We have AI here generating some of these items. Maybe you're looking for an ASE cert or a valid driver's license. You can mark which of those things are required and which of those are preferred. AI is now going to do the labor of searching those applicants. So we can see here on the card, off on the right in green and red, how much of the evidence was found. And when we drill in, we see that evidence, but we can also dig in to see where it is that AI found the evidence. Now, first of all, we can give a nice AI summary, kind of going through all the things that were found, the strengths, the weaknesses, but those preferred and required fields you see on the right in the attribute checklist, I can see where it was found and I can drill in and confirm that that was in fact found on that document. So again, AI is not off doing magic. AI is doing what you as a human being would do, but you don't have the time. And then making it visually very easy for you to understand. So that's AI match. Next up, we have the AI interviewer. Now, the AI interviewer is all about saving. So again, the two lenses. For your staff, it's about saving time. You've got to do the phone screen. You've got to call. It's going to take you, I don't know, 5 to 10 hours a week of your time. Sometimes you'll call people, you'll get ghosted. Like all the challenges that you all are very familiar with of getting people on the phone and getting through them. And you only have so much time, so you're not going to call everyone. You're going to call a certain amount of people, you're going to get fatigue, and you're going to make a choice based on the limited information you have because you could only make so many phone calls. So that's from your end, higher quality people and saving you time. From the applicant's perspective, they now can complete the interview at a time that is convenient for them. If they are working all day and they can only take the call at 11 o'clock at night, that's when they're going to be able to take that call. If they want to do it in another language, they can do that. And then it's going to be scored consistently without bias. So the same rubric applied to every interviewer. So if I'm really qualified, I now get a chance to get an interview, to showcase my skills in the language I want at the time I want, and know that it will be graded in a fair and honest way. So let's take a look at the AI interviewer.
When a candidate is invited to complete an AI interview, they will receive a link via email and/or text. They will land on this mobile-friendly page that gives a quick overview of the AI interviewer's name, the position they're interviewing for, expected duration. They'll do a quick mic check, and then optionally, they can do a practice question, turn on accommodations or captions. This is a very user-friendly experience. We want all of our candidates to have a wonderful experience. So we have a lot of accommodations available. We will do a quick mic check and dive right in. Testing, testing. Let's begin.
Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to interview with us today. I'll be asking you a series of questions, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's get started. Can you walk me through your experience managing day-to-day office operations, like handling vendors, overseeing facilities, managing supplies, or coordinating schedules?
Sure. So I have a lot of experience in this area. In my previous role, I managed vendors like our cleaning and office supply partners, placing orders, tracking invoices, and resolving any issues that came up. I coordinated with facilities on maintenance, kept supplies stocked, and managed team calendars and shared meeting spaces just to keep daily operations running smooth.
That's really helpful. Thank you. Can you walk me through the specific tasks you performed when working with the vendors? What did that process look like on a day-to-day basis?
¿Hablas español?
Claro, puedo hablar en español. Continuemos. ¿Deseas que retomemos la pregunta con más detalles en ese idioma?
Actually, let's continue in English.
Of course. Let's continue in English. Do you want to share more about the tasks you performed when working with the vendors? What did that process look like on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. So on a daily basis, I placed and tracked orders, confirmed delivery timelines, and reviewed invoices for accuracy. I handled issues directly with the vendors, like late deliveries or mistakes, and then did quick follow-ups to keep everything on track.
That gives me a good picture. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it.
Thank you for letting me know. That wraps up all of our questions. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and insights today. We really appreciate your time, and you'll be hearing from us soon. Have a great day.
From a recruiter perspective, as soon as an interview is complete, it will be available on the candidate's profile. You'll be able to see the agent that interviewed, the information on the interview, a summary, including strengths, areas for improvement, an audio recording, and then a transcript broken down by question.
Great. All right, I see lots of questions there. With AI, just to cover this, because I think it's worthwhile, there are two things to keep in mind legally, or two real things legally. Title VII and ADA. Title VII says you will not create a disparate impact on a protected group, and the ADA is all about accommodations, ensuring everyone can complete the task. And so you'll notice that in the video that we showed, we are dealing with those things. And again, when I mention AI, you want to think of it through two lenses, through the applicants and through the employers. You want to make this more fair for applicants, not less. And so what you just saw, we will build the same sort of thing through a phone call to accommodate. You can request other accommodations as well. And our AI interviewer it's not going to infer things such as accent or, the tonality with which they spoke. It's just looking at the transcript and just looking to see whether they proved evidence of answering the question well or not. So you do want to be very thoughtful when it comes to AI, and Hireology is certainly doing that. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk about the candidate pipeline for a minute. So the candidate pipeline is a very different look on the when you drill into a job. And so today, when you click in through the profiles, it takes time, and the calls to action aren't that clean, and there's a lot of room for improvement. But really, what it is about speed and efficiency for you all to do the job more quickly, to get through more people, to find the quality in the stacks of persons that are applying to your job. And so we have reimagined the job interface to, again, make it obvious what actions you need to take them at the appropriate time, and to move through people, and to hang all this new functionality that we're talking about today onto. So with that, I'm going to give a demo. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to send a request here. and share. Okay. Um, Apologies. I am sharing. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at what exists today when you are looking for, when you're in the application. So we're going to go to the jobs page, and I'm going to go ahead and drill into one of these jobs. And you should all be very familiar with this page. There's a lot happening on this page. I can see, survey results. I can see who's new. I can click into persons and move around, but it takes time, and the calls to action aren't always that clear. If I come back and I go into candidates in process, I get a visual, but it's not that evident to me what it is I need to do next. And the speed of coming in and out of one person and going back to the next
Hey, John,
is
I think we
yes.
might be on the wrong screen. If you just want to go back and try and share the right screen again.
All right, let's try one more time. Is this the right screen?
Yes, thank you.
All right, apologies. Okay, I'm going to go through that really quickly again. So when you dive in, you can see that this is the screen you're probably familiar with today. And when I click into folks and click back or go into candidates, it takes some time. It's also not that evident visually when I'm looking at it, what it is that I'm seeing, at least right away. You get familiar with it over time. Let's compare that with where we're going today. So I'm going to dive into this porter job, and I can see all my applicants, and we've got these new cards. And so I can see things like the resume, the application, who's submitted them, who hasn't, the survey, whether it's in process or not. I can manage the job, the hiring team, the approval workflow. I mentioned some of the AI features. I can see those AI features more easily. I can see any automations. So managing the job is is easier. I can select to take action on multiple applicants if I want more easily. And when I dig into someone, I can see the application, the pre-screen survey, the cover letter. The documents are now co-located to make it simpler for you to download in ways that it wasn't before. I can see any previous jobs they've applied to more easily. And when we get the AI interviewing, that will also fall in. Going through applicants is so much faster than it's ever been in the past. So if I want to click through a bunch of persons, I can do it very easily, whether that's the application, the resume, or whatever it is that I want to do. If I move someone to in progress, so let's go ahead and move Destiny forward. The calls to action are really evident to me. I want to send a scheduling link, send times to schedule, or manually add them to an interview. Very easy, very straightforward. If I look at this in progress phase, I get a much cleaner, more obvious look at where everyone is. And when I drill into persons, it puts me right on the screen with the action that I need to take. So if I click on someone in this case who is awaiting decision versus someone who is awaiting scheduling, the calls to action are cleaner and simpler for me to take. Moving someone to the next phase is easier than it's ever been. And so there's so much functionality here in this new candidate view. We know you're all going to love it. It's going to make your life much, much easier and make the process much quicker than it's been in the past. So we're very excited about all of that. All right, I'm going to switch back to you, Emily.
All right. Thank you, John. I'm going to take the control back, and I am also going to take over because this next product feature is one that I asked John if I could talk about. This is one of my favorite new features. It is a problem that we hear about constantly. And so I'm really excited because this is something that I think really goes far towards solving that problem. Think about when a candidate applies to one of your roles and you review them maybe it takes you a little while to get to them. Maybe there are other candidates that are sort of burying them on top. But however you get to them, eventually you get to them, you decide it's worth a conversation, you send a message. Maybe you wait a couple hours for a response. Maybe you have to wait a day for a response. They say they're interested. You send a time. They're not available. You go back and forth. Meanwhile, 3 days have gone by, and that is 3 days where that candidate is talking to all of your competitors who are also trying to hire them. So, what we're rolling out is automated interview scheduling that closes that gap entirely. It automatically offers interview slots to candidates who meet pre-screen criteria that you set in advance. This means that there's no more manual coordination for each candidate. Soon you'll be able to set limits on how many candidates can book, how far in advance, so that you can stay in control of your calendar. When we have previewed this with customers, they've been really excited about this additional functionality. We can get an applicant from applied to interview scheduled on a hiring manager's calendar in under 2 minutes. We also have some additional exciting enhancements coming to interview scheduling, bulk scheduling, so you can book multiple candidates at once, as well as panel interviews for when you need multiple interviewers in the same room. One thing I want to flag, if you are a current Hireology customer, calendar sync is key to unlock this and make this all work. So if you have not synced your calendars or your hiring managers have not synced theirs, this is the first step towards being able to use that functionality. All right, so now we've seen how we can accelerate the process of getting candidates into the hiring motion, and we're going to move forward in the funnel because getting applicants in the door does not do you any good if you aren't able to hire them or if your process stalls out and slows down after that. So being able to keep that velocity going and surface the information that you need to ensure that your hires are high quality, and make sure that the information from your hiring process is flowing seamlessly into the rest of your systems is key. So John, I'm going to hand it back over to you to talk about our new developments in integrations.
Great. Thanks, Emily. All right, integrations marketplace. So you all are moving data from your ATS into your payroll system, and it's both time consuming and can be error prone. Our integrations marketplace, now we've had integrations, but they've been upgraded. The amount of data you can move, the configurability of it is just more than it's ever been. And not just the moving of the data. Today, when you hit the hire button, you get presented with a modal and you select the data and the fields you want to move. Now you can decide what data goes on your jobs, as you'll see in a minute, what data goes on your requisition forms, and all that data is going to be moving over. So really exciting there if you haven't checked it out. We are also bringing a couple of other integrations coming soon. Workday and ADP WFN Next Gen are coming soon.
All right. I'm going to take over again for one of my other favorite topics, which if you had asked me a decade ago, I never would have said that I thought background checks would be one of my favorite topics. But this is one of those areas where details really matter and it kind of makes or breaks a good hire. It's also where sort of generic one-size-fits-all solutions can actually create a lot of risk for your business. The roles that our customers that you are hiring for have very specific compliance requirements. So, a service technician, a CNA, a hospitality manager, those don't require the same background checks. And if your background check package was not designed for your industry specifically, you might have gaps that you're not even aware of. So Hireology's background check packages are built specifically for the roles that you hire and the risks that you're managing day to day, and they're role specific. So you'll see sort of some new phrasing, some new naming when we're talking about background checks. We've expanded what's available in our platform. You can now order additional types of checks like credit checks or post-accident drug screens, reasonable suspicion drug screens, abuse registry searches, all without needing to interact with a separate vendor, log into a separate portal. You can do this all directly from within Hireology, all in one place, so that it's purpose built for your world and the roles that you hire. And everything is pulled from original sources and completely FCRA compliant. So we've covered a lot of ground on the candidate-facing side, on the compliance side, and we want to get into what happens now that sets the foundation for all of that before the job even gets posted. Job requisitions and approvals is often an overlooked part of the process, sort of like a necessary evil in getting a job posted. But really, if it's done right, it can be the foundation of an effective hiring process. So when your requisition is structured well from the start, when you have flexible approval hierarchy in place, and when you're pulling the right data in, you can really circumvent a lot of the issues that come up down the line. So to show you what we mean, I'm going to hand this back to John.
All right. Thank you, Emily. Job record and approval is probably something I could talk quite a bit about. You all have very unique needs for job requisitions, different locations, different rec forms, different approval workflows, and you can now set them up exactly as you want. This is different than job approvals, which you have seen. This is creating a small form with a rec number and having your hiring managers filling out much less data to get the process up and running. And as Emily said, having a consistent hiring process starts in the beginning, and this allows you to bring the structure that you're looking for. And as I mentioned with the integration in the marketplace, the integrations are now two-way. So you can put fields from your payroll right on the job requisition in ways that you couldn't before. So think about your different locations can be configured the way you need them to be configured with the job recs. And lastly, we're going to talk about enhanced onboarding. Okay. So most new hire turnover happens in the first 90 days, often because your onboarding is disorganized. Enhanced onboarding closes the loop, documents offer letters, and HRIS data flow all through Hireology so new hires start productive, not chasing paperwork. Our new enhancement is going to solve a lot of the problems you've had in the past. The ability to text these, really easy on mobile, multiple signatures, and on and on and on. Same thing with offer letters, the ability to get approvals, multi-level. Just a lot of things that you have all been asking for are going to be solved with this new enhanced onboarding. So look for that coming soon.
All right, let's bring it all back together. So we just saw a lot. We covered our new AI tools, Match, an AI interview, new candidate pipeline. We talked about interview scheduling, integrations marketplace, our new background check packages, job requisitions, and recently enhanced onboarding. So it's a lot to absorb. I even see some questions in the chat about enablement for our teams to sort of really drive home how to navigate through the new changes. So it is a lot to talk about, and we're so excited to share all of this update with you. When you map it against this roadmap, you can start to see how each piece fits into your hiring process. So from attracting to sourcing your candidates, all the way through the process to managing and optimizing, measuring your hiring needs, Hireology is really built to support you at every stage. Every stage is connected. And these new features help you navigate your top picks of candidates through these stages faster with less manual effort from your team. And so from our perspective, this is what a complete AI-ready hiring system really looks like. It's not a point solution. It's not replacing human decision-making. It is a full tech-enabled candidate experience. So with that, we have made it to my favorite part, which is Q&A. I saw quite a few questions dropped in the chat, as well as we have some questions that came through the Q&A portion. So let me just pull up some of the questions and we can get started. So, John, there were a fair amount of questions about AI and keeping things compliant, how our customers can make sure that it's not turning candidates off, who might want more of a personal touch with the first reach out. So, can you talk a little bit about all of the research that you and your team have done to really make sure that this is going to be a value add to our customers and not simply just automate what should be done by a human?
Yeah, when we say value add, we're again two customers there, right? You all. It needs to be a value add for you to make your life more convenient and find the right people. Second is it needs to be a value add to the applicant. So when Hireology is building AI technology, everyone's aware legally the law is looking out for the applicant. Let's just say it like it is. That's who they're looking out for. And so when we build software, especially AI software, we want to think about it from the applicant's point of view. Now, not everyone's going to want to do an AI interview. That is fair. But there is research showing that lots of people do like it because it works for their schedule, because it works for the language, because they should be getting graded fairly. Now, with AI interviewing, some of the struggles have been AI inferring where it shouldn't infer. Again, how I speak, maybe if I pause. Our tool is not going to do any of that. It's about the words they speak and the way and the quality they answer the questions. So again, we want to think about accommodations for someone who doesn't want to do that. Can they still get to a human being? And you can see from what we're building that that is the case. And second, that it's doing it consistently. So we think about, like, let's say AI match. What you don't want is a score that shows up on a paper that you can't justify. What you do want is a score that shows up that you have agreed upon exactly why that score is showing. If they have these three items, which I've clearly detailed, I could, as a human being, going into all resumes and applications and look for those elements and then give them the score. So AI, you don't want it to be a black box. Lastly, you want to monitor. Is there a disparate impact against a protected group? And these are the kinds of things that Hireology is doing. So totally, you should be thinking about legality with things you're doing, and Hireology is for sure doing those. So I hopefully, Emily, that answers that question, and I can take more too.
Yeah, for sure. We got another one. How do we train the data to get smarter over time? Is it learning from our specific data? Is it pulling from broader industry data or just the internet as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, for us, there's a couple of things when we say this, right? For the jobs, we understand the things that you're generally looking for. So we're talking about a service technician. We understand you're looking for an ASC cert, the kinds of things that you're going to be looking for out of that applicant. If it's a CNA, same sort of thing. What are the licenses, registered nurse? So we understand those kinds of items. And then we're going to be providing you with a set of, think a question bank, okay? What that's going to provide you that others are not doing, it is going to provide you with consistent scoring. So the question won't be asked exactly the same way. It's not just a recording, it's more sophisticated than that. But it's how it drills in consistently the way it drills in, such that the same sort of question is being asked. Let's say you were going to go out and train all your management on how to do structural or behavioral questions. It'd be really hard. AI can do that consistently and fairly with a consistent rubric. So those are some of the advantages that we have to see which questions are working, which questions are indicated of folks who will get hired. And that is some of the things that we're doing that are unique.
Yep, great. Um, Aaron asked a question, which I think is a really great question, considering we just showed almost an hour's worth of new product updates. Will there be an easy way to distribute this information to the hiring managers regarding this new navigation? I can take that one. I think that that's a fantastic question. And one thing that I want to point out is that every time we do a new update, you'll be notified of the new product release right within the notifications in our app. But we will also have expanded information and enablement that you can use to send to your teams in our customer knowledge base. If you're not familiar with our customer knowledge base, it's a great resource. We're also rolling out some new sort of, I'll call it beefed up customer enablement in the knowledge base that will help both with existing customers that have specific questions, but also for new customers that are setting up their accounts and looking to give information to their teams. So any new update that we roll out in Hireology will come with accompanying enablement. And if it's something that you are able to find on your own, just work with our support team and we'll make sure that you have everything you need so that your teams can use the platform. All right, let's look and see some other questions. What is the timeline for these updates from Sonia?
Okay, so let's start with the candidate pipeline, which is maybe the most visual that you're going to see. So right now we are in a beta with a few customers. We're going to be going into preview April 1st. So for those of you who've used that, in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, under settings, you can see preview features, and you will be able to turn that on as soon as April, which is really exciting. And the way we're doing it is you have to opt in the month of April. During the month of May, you will have to opt out if you want to remain, and then it'll be fully GA June 1st. At least that's the timeline as of right now. The AI stuff is a little too early to give timelines on, although I will say we have made quite a bit of progress already, as you can see. But I'm not ready to commit to a timeline on this call.
All right. Let's follow that AI thread. We have a specific question from Scott. Can the AI summary auto-generate instead of requiring us to push the button each time?
The answer is yes, it will be doing that. This is just where we're at right now, Scott. So good question.
Bob also asked, can you clarify if the tools can be turned off, for example, if we don't want to use the AI interview? That's a great question.
They will. In fact, we'd recommend it. There are certain roles it's your high. You want to start with your high, high hiring roles, right? So think of caregiver as an example, and then work your way up. And so, and see what the sweet spot is for your applicants and what they want. We know this has had great success, but this does not need to be turned on for every role. You are in control, and you'll either be able to auto set it. So, Emily talked a lot about scheduling and availability. So either be something you can automatically do, or you can by hand say, I want to send this person an AI interview. So you're going to be in complete control for how you would like to deploy that technology.
Yeah, I think as with almost anything we do at Hireology, we design it with our specific industries in mind. And so the way that we're thinking about these AI features is really specific to the roles that you're hiring. And so for the majority of your frontline roles where you have these super high volume influxes of candidates, maybe you do spikes seasonally, or when there's a growth in your business, that's when these tools can be really helpful. And then we'll give you the flexibility to toggle it on and off, use it when it makes sense for both the candidate and for your team. And then, revert to your previous process when it doesn't. So that is a great question. Thank you so much. I see a little bit of, there are some specific questions about accounts and cost. Cost is something that obviously will be communicated as these features rolled out. So make sure if it's something that you're interested in, you connect with our support team or your support contact to inquire about that. There is also a question from an anonymous viewer that says we have Hireology integrated with activated insights for automated interview scheduling and lead nurturing. With your new features, are you able to fully substitute the recruit software? That's a great question. I mean, John, you look like you,
That is the plan, right?
yeah.
We want to make this, we want to put all the tools on platform to make it as easy as possible. And then by using the tools on platform over time, we will integrate them, and connect them in ways that'll be really beneficial too. So yes, that is the plan.
Yep. I think at Hireology, that is always our goal is to help do more of what our customers need to do in the hiring process on our platform. So we love feedback like this and questions like this because it really lets us know what direction we need to build in. All right. Are there any other, if I see some specific questions about people's accounts, how do we find our current agreement and user allotment? All of those questions, if they're specific to your account or something that you're experiencing, feel free to contact our support team. They can help you out by looking into your specific account. And then we will, of course, put our QR codes up on the screen here. If there are any of you that are not currently Hireology customers, we would love for you to become Hireology customers. Feel free to scan the QR code on the right. You'll be directly connected with someone on my team to talk about that. And then if you are a current Hireology customer and love Hireology, have feedback for us, please feel free to use the QR code on the left and leave us a review on G2. We do read all of the reviews. They influence a lot of the direction that we build. And thank you all so much for your time.
Thanks, everyone.